Welcome back to Crypto Strategies with Chris. My name is Chris. So today we're going to go over some key indicators that I believe you should know so that you can better prepare yourself for altcoin season. Now get a pen and paper out so you can take some notes, and let's strategize ourselves into financial freedom. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's start with a warm-up. Everybody should know the Fear and Greed Index. You can find this on coinmarketcap.com. As you click, the index is at a 40, which is considered neutral. And if you wanted to, you can check out the chart too. You can see again, we are at a 40 and we were in fear and we did rise up to the neutral area. So that's pretty good. You can see how we've just been kind of all over the place. We've been bouncing around or staying in the neutral, bounce up to greed, bounce up to fear, greed, neutral, fear. So it just shows that we have just been everywhere. Just for funsies, this looks like a nice cup. Hopefully this can turn into a handle, and that'd be great. So a strategy you should use when entering into the market using the Fear and Greed Index is most people wait for the neutral zones. They wait until they are out of the fear and then they buy in the neutral. And then they start selling along the way up and towards the green, and especially in extreme greed, that's when most people start to sell. That way they don't ride the fall back down. That's just what most traders do. Alright, so for the next indicator, and probably like the most important one, is the Bitcoin dominance. Again, you can find the Bitcoin dominance chart right here on CoinMarketCap, and you can see the chart right here. Understanding Bitcoin dominance, it signals to us that people are beginning to rotate their money out of Bitcoin and into different altcoins. The Bitcoin dominance is pretty much inverse to the altcoin dominance. Whenever Bitcoin dominance is at its all-time high, then that means the altcoins are pretty much going to be at their low. Whenever you see that the Bitcoin dominance is dropping, you can see that the altcoins begins to rise, because this means that people are taking their money and out of Bitcoin and rotating it into other altcoins. And you can see right here, Bitcoin dominance is 60%. In the past histories, when altcoin season began, it was because Bitcoin's dominance was below 45%. And you can see we are not there yet for altcoin season. So that is the magic number for you to kind of remember, is if once it's getting close to that 45%, then you want to get ready for a potential altcoin season. A lower Bitcoin dominance kind of indicates a more risk-on market. So people feel more comfortable taking out their money from Bitcoin and rolling it over into the large caps and mid cap altcoins. One of the strategies to use the Bitcoin dominance is by checking to see when the dominance gets close to about 45%. That's when most traders feel more comfortable getting into the altcoins whenever Bitcoin's around the range of 45% and when it goes lower, because that just shows when altcoin season's signaling to begin. Another indicator that you can use is the altcoin season index. You can see right here the altcoin season index. You can see it's showing that we are at a 22 out of 100, so that is very low. If we were to check on the chart, you can see the 90-day, it's telling us that we are in Bitcoin season. And we're not even basically in neutral right now. So it's just all Bitcoin. And then once you can see it gets to a 75% for the altcoin index, then that will show that we are in altcoin season. So you can see we still got a bit of a way, but this is a great tool that you can use so you can visually see that we're almost close to altcoin season. A strategy that some people use is they wait until this indicator gets to about 60. Once the altcoin season index gets to about 60, that's basically an early signal that we could potentially be heading into altcoin season. Remember, altcoin season officially starts at about a 75% dominance. So once it hits 60, we may get to the 75 and more. I believe in last bull market in 21, we hit an altcoin season index of a 98 out of 100. So hopefully we can do that again this bull run. So for the next indicator, most people just kind of check on Bitcoin's price action. And you can find this on any live chart out there. You can use CoinGecko. This is CoinGecko. You can see the Bitcoin live chart. This is a 1-year chart. And most times with altcoins, they don't really start performing all that well or that much, or they don't start outperforming Bitcoin until 2 to 4 months after Bitcoin goes on a pretty good solid correction. So most of the altcoins, they follow Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's going up, then they're going up. If Bitcoin's going down, they're going further down. And when Bitcoin consolidates, altcoins kind of consolidate as well. But once Bitcoin has hit its peak, it usually takes for 2 to 4 months for altcoins to start outperforming Bitcoin. And so we just got to wait to see are there other indicators showing us that altcoin season is going to begin to outperform Bitcoin? So one of the strategies for using the Bitcoin live chart is by checking to see when Bitcoin starts to stabilize. Once Bitcoin starts to stabilize or corrects from a peak, that's when people usually start rotating their profits into the other altcoins. You want to stay pretty much close to the large caps to the mid caps if you're going to rotate or jump into any of the altcoins. Another indicator is the altcoin market cap. You can find this again also on CoinGecko. You can see right here, this is the max, the altcoin market cap chart. And you can tell we are on a big correction for the altcoins. If we were to check the 3-month chart, you can see we're kind of on the downtrend, but we are stabilizing. There is some support right here, so that's nice. Hopefully we can jump back up, so we'll see. But this is where you can kind of monitor and check what's happening with all the altcoins and the market cap to see if we are gaining or losing. A strategy we use in this chart is by checking to see if it goes past the resistance. Once it has a bit of a breakout, most people or traders, they like to throw a lot of their money into the mid caps and even the low caps to get a higher gain return. Another indicator is the meme coin mania, meme coin frenzy, whatever you want to call it. Once meme coins start taking over the market and you just start hearing so much about them, usually that's sometimes a pre-indicator that a run is coming up. And just like in Dogecoin in 2021, Doge led the charge for the crypto market, and then Bitcoin, and then Ethereum. So most times people are jumping into the meme coins because I don't know if it's manipulation, I don't know what it is, but people are going to make a lot of money from the meme coins, and then they're going to reinvest it into the more solid projects. And that's when you get the rotation, and then we get a bit of a Bitcoin season, and then we get an altcoin season. People just kind of rotate. So just be on the lookout for the meme coin stuff and the narratives whenever they start getting popular again. A strategy for the meme coin is really hard to keep track of that. You never know when it's gonna just happen. But be sure to be on X, have yourself an X account, get into or follow some influencers who are pretty involved in the meme coin areas and projects, because they can help give you early signs of how meme coins are doing and when people are just buying so much more, especially with the new meme coins that do come up, because I don't know, some companies or institutions might buy a new meme coin or they might stick to the old ones. Like Dogecoin is definitely a good indicator to know when institutions or more people are buying in, because whenever Dogecoin is popping, then all the rest of the meme coins will be popping as well. And so that should be a pretty good indicator to show that, hey, we're having a run of meme coins, so maybe it's going to rotate into Bitcoin and other altcoins. Another way to check if there's more activity going on into the altcoin ecosystem is by checking some of their gas fees and if there's a lot of transactions going on other chains. One of the ways is checking Ethereum's gas fees. High transactions and volume signal increased demand. So this is 3.94 GWI, and this isn't too bad. This is actually pretty low. You can see right here, this is very cheap. So I believe typically anything less than 10 of this is pretty cheap, and then once you get to the 10 to 40, it's pretty moderate. But once it gets past 40 GWI all the way up to 100 and more, that's when there is an increased demand for Ethereum. Whatever's going on in that ecosystem, people are getting involved and they are spending some money. So that's a good way to tell whenever altcoin season could potentially be starting, because all the activity is going to pretty much happen with Ethereum, and then it's going to flow over. If tradition and if history repeats, then it's going to flow over into the other altcoins. So a strategy with using the gas fees and monitoring them is just to see how much activity is going on in that ecosystem. If you were to check out Ethereum, then you can see like a lot of activities going on. So typically for altcoin seasons, Ethereum needs to have its run first and outperform Bitcoin so that it can roll over to the altcoins. If Ethereum's just not getting that much demand or not much going on, then that's an issue. So this is a good indicator to check up on and see how Ethereum is doing, so that you can kind of use it as an early signal for altcoin season. Another indicator is the stablecoin inflows. So if you were to check out Crypto Quant, they have a chart where it says exchange inflow total. And this is going to all the exchanges. You can filter it out. But this is showing the inflows of stablecoins into the exchanges. Now typically this is pretty good because this means people are buying. But once it starts to go down, this is a 1-month chart. Once it starts to go down, then that kind of just means like a risk off environment. They're either taking their stable coins off of exchanges. Most of the time that's what they're doing. So a strategy we're using this chart is just by checking it weekly, just kind of monitor how the stable coins are going, because once the dominance starts to really rise with the stable coins on exchanges, then that just means people are going to gearing up and getting ready to buy some kind of altcoins or even Bitcoin. People are getting ready to buy it, and you're going to want to focus, not financial advice, but mostly on layer 1s, RWAs, and even AIs. You want to focus on the strong narratives during this time whenever you see the stablecoin on exchanges dominance start to rise. So there are some red flags I want to share with you so that you can know when altcoin season may be cooling down or completely stopping. You want to be sure you're on the lookout for any blow off tops. Now this can be just some altcoins or this can be all of them, but you want to make sure that you're safe and that you're prepared if you have or you're invested in any of the altcoins and they just go and they shoot up and they start going down. You want to be cautious and make sure you do get out just in case. Most of the time people do FOMO in at the top, and once you start to see like, yeah, it's rising and rising, and then it starts to come down, you will never know. They may bounce up, but most of the time they may start going down, especially if they made a crazy increase within days or weeks or even a month. You can see in Shiba Inu in 2021, you can see within a month, October 12th all the way to about October 30th, it had this big old spike. But you can also see within a month as well, it just crashed probably over 80%. It just crashed down, and that was the blow off top, and this was the peak of the bull market and for Bitcoin. So you got to be aware that these huge explosions are signaling a top. Another red flag to check on is the Bitcoin dominance. Now in May of 21, I believe the Bitcoin dominance fell below 40%. And then once it started to reverse and it went above 47 or 45%, the altcoins started to crash. So you want to make sure you're checking the Bitcoin dominance whenever you do believe you're in altcoin season, so that you can be better prepared and knowing when to be getting out. And for the last red flag is just regulatory news and FUD. Now there's going to be a lot going on in the peak bull market, even in altcoin seasons. There will be some FUD, but this FUD may have a huge impact on the altcoins and overall crypto markets. So whenever we're in altcoin season, we're going to hear a lot of good news. We're going to hear adoptions. We're going to hear partnerships. There's going to be a lot of good news. But once we start hearing some FUD, that's the first time you hear something. Take that as a warning sign that altcoin season may start to go down, because once one starts, it's going to trickle and there's going to be more FUD, and you want to make sure you're ready to exit the market in case it does go overboard, because one FUD can just crash the market within days, in a day, and weeks. We know crypto is very volatile, so we got to be on guard. So we got to make sure we're keeping up with the news, keeping up with social media sites and YouTubers to see if there's any bad news going on, because we got to be ready to jump ship. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video today. Let me know what you think about these indicators and these charts that I showed you. I hope it helps you. I hope you can better prepare yourself for altcoin season, because we don't know if it's going to be a quick one or it's going to be a long one, but we just got to be prepared either way. Press that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now, friends.